All right, Bulls and Bears. It's Monday, August 5th. I'm recording this pre-market. Most of you are probably watching this after market opens. But right now, things are looking really, really concerning. Now, the people that followed me on a couple trades that I've been here the past few weeks that I've been in, that I opened up, maybe 3 to 4 weeks ago, we're doing really good. We're up. We're going to talk about that later in this video. But we've got escalations happening right now in the World War III Black Swan that I think is really going to be hitting this year. And first of all, let's take a step back here on this channel, because the only channel here on YouTube, I think, that warned everybody the second half of 2024, if you've been on this channel. Sorry, I bumped my mic. I'm a little bit excited today, even though I'm running on a little sleep right now. If you've been on this channel, you know that we're one of the only channels that I've seen, and maybe there's others that I haven't seen, but the only channel that I know of that warned you exactly the timeline of the economic Black Swan window. And I think it's the second half of 2024. Of course, we're now in August. We're going into the second month of the second half of 2024, and things are just going to get worse. They're going to escalate. Again, World War III knocking on the door. The Black Swans are flying around here. Just some recent news here on this. Iran and Israel looking like it's going to escalate. It's going to get, it's already serious, but it's going to get even more serious. Worldwide, folks, the United States, we're involved in these wars. It started off just financially, sending weapons, financial support, sending support packages, etc. Most of you know this, but also boots on the ground now, casualties now, and it's just going to get worse, folks. This is the type of thing that happens when economies are nearing the end. Some people say this is a way to cover it all up. That way, all the people that are barely getting by, the people that are now broke, have reached their credit card limits, 1 in 5 credit card holders. Delinquency surging, unemployment rates starting to go up now. They can no longer hide the economic reality. This is when the wars begin. Could it be a coincidence? Possibly. I don't believe in this type of coincidence, because historically, if we look back, they'll take you to war. When all else fails, they will take you to war. Who are we talking about? They were talking about the global elite, the controllers of the money. Some people call them the monopoly men, the puppet masters at the top of the pyramid, whatever you want to call them. They are taking us to war. That's what it looks like here. Expect the unexpected. Black swans flying everywhere. Markets are very cautious territory right now. Big sell-offs in crypto. We're going to get into that here in a few minutes. Of course, if you're watching the charts here, you know what's going on here. And again, I'm recording this pre-market today. Could the markets reverse and go back up? Absolutely, at the click of a button. But remember, it's the top 1% that controls these markets, and even more so the top 10%, but the top 1% is very concentrated. About 50% of all stocks are owned by the top 1%. If you want to expand that out to the top 10%, you're talking about 90% of all stocks, right? So when these people at the top, when they decide to hit the sell button, and believe me, they all know when to sell. They all know when it's going to hit the fan. That's when the markets will come down. I've said this a million times here in this channel. I think it's going to take a big, massive, global level scare to bring these markets down. And markets are very cautious right now. We've got Warren Buffett out there, as we reported in our last report. Warren Buffett out there taking a big cash position, the biggest cash position ever for his Berkshire Hathaway outfit investment firm. So, folks, this is the time, the second quarter. We're up big on these stocks that I put out put options on. Rivian and NVIDIA, we're up big on both of those. In fact, Rivian, we're up, 46%? I say we because some people here followed me on that trade. A couple of you actually were already going to be shorting those stocks anyway, or had already shorted them even before I had announced them, and you let me know that you were already in the trades. Right, so congratulations to you. For those of you that are out of the markets completely, I don't blame you. This is a very, very tough time here, because we know that most consumers are at the end of the road, or approaching the end of the road, or the edge of the cliff here. We nailed it. Probably, the only channel to nail the 6-month time frame for this. And I'm thinking that things are just going to get worse. Now, you're going to see maybe some relief Sell off, relief, but I expect the lows to get lower and the highs to get lower as we start this downtrend going into what I think is going to be the final rip, and that's going to be October. Could I be wrong? Absolutely, right? But this is all not just guess. This is not guesswork. This is trying to think of the term here to best. This is a calculated risk, and I'm looking at all the risks out there. But it's not just rolling the dice. It's not just guessing. All the things we talk about here in this channel are leading to this timeline. The people are getting close to the end of their financial ropes here. Well, let's get into some other news here. Oil prices dropped 1% as U.S. recession fears offset risks in the Mideast. Again, the escalation of war, recession fears. Isn't that strange? We were told, by the central bank talking heads, that the consumer was strong, that the economy is resilient. Why would there be any recession fears, right? The talking heads told us just the opposite. They told us everything was fine and that there was nothing to worry about. Folks, this is insane to have to report this. Japan's stock index logs worst day since the 1987 Black Monday crash. Right, again, we have to remind you that these are global financial turmoil times. So this is not just the U.S. It's not a question of getting one leader out in November and replacing it with another leader that's going to fix everything. That could not be further from the truth. This is a global situation. Our system of money, which is fiat money, not backed by anything, that can be created at the click of a mouse in infinite amounts to infinity. This is global, right? That's why we've got some countries talking about going to a currency that's backed by something physical, something tangible, something limited like precious metals. Of course, that's a big step, though, because the countries that can create endless amounts of money, they're going to continue to basically manipulate the markets. And when you go to a sound currency, a lot of this endless spending comes to an end, folks. You wouldn't see any wars right now if we had sound money. If you had a currency that was limited, that means you couldn't just click a mouse and create trillions of dollars at the click of a mouse. It would be limited to the amount of physical metals. In this case, if you had a precious metals backed currency, there would be no wars, right? Because the people, there wouldn't be enough money for it, one. And when people know that this money is limited, when you actually have to work for the money, not just the working class, but even the top people, the top 1%, when you actually have to work for the money, when you can't just create it out of thin air, there is no more war. War cannot be funded. All right, maybe there'll be some small wars, but nothing like today where you have just billions of dollars in weapons packages being handed out like candy. All right, folks, this is why it's so serious. And some people say, ha, the gold standard, it'll never happen. It's the only way to fix it, folks. And if it's not going to happen, if there's not going to be a gold standard in the future, I feel really sorry for anyone having to live through this around this globe here, around the world, because it's going to get really, really bad. Global factories struggled in July as demand waned. The #1 consumer nation, the United States, people, again, are approaching the end of their financial rope. Of course, so now you see global factories struggling because the United States, we're the #1 consumer nation. We consume the most out of any nation. Even though China's got 4 times our population numbers, we still consume the most here, folks. We are the #1 wasteful consumer nation. And again, when consumers get close to the end of the rope here, when they start reaching their credit limits, when delinquencies start increasing, unemployment starts increasing, that's when global factories struggle, because the #1 buyer of all these goods in the world, the U.S., consumer, is tapped out or on the way being tapped out, folks. So, and all this stuff should be no surprise to those of you that have been on this channel here. Intel plunges 30%, the most since 1982, after announcing layoffs and weak guidance. Folks, this is the time, right? And there may be a relief rally, but I don't think it's going to be new all-time highs going into the end of the year here. Again, lower highs, lower lows. No new all-time highs. That's just my call, because I think that even the top 10% are spooked right now. Half of American credit card holders, many with no plan to pay it off. And when they say, let me just read you the headline here. Half of American cardholders now carry credit card debt, many with no plan to pay it off. And what they mean by carrying it is they're carrying it month to month. They're not paying it off in full. This is half the people, folks. Half of credit card holders. This is massive. Many with no plan to pay it off. A lot of people are transferring, doing the balance transfer game. You pay this fee to transfer the balance, get a 0% or low percent interest rate for maybe 8 months, maybe 12 months, 18 months if you get a really good one. Hopefully not much of a fee there, but usually it's a 3% fee. In some cases, a 5% fee. Millions of people, folks, right now transferring these balances because they can't pay off their credit card. And right now, there are balance transfer offers out there. So that's kind of the savior for a lot of people. That's the life raft for a lot of people right now. If it weren't for that, and if it weren't for the bank's willingness to just take on all this debt, then this economy would have already crashed by now. So it's all up to the banks right now. Will the banks be propped up, or will it be the other black swan that we talked about here, which is going to be the banks going dark, the banks going down? Will there be a compromise of our grid? Maybe not the power grid, but maybe the banking grid, maybe both at the same time. That would be completely nightmarish, folks, because the shelves will be wiped out in 72 hours. So prepare for that. This is not a food stocking preparation channel, but it's something you should think about, just putting away some food, a few weeks of food for you and your family. The student loan forgiveness now, the number keeps getting bigger. Notices going out to 40 million borrowers. There's different tiers being talked about of different types of relief, putting the students and their severity of student loan debt in different categories. Some getting more relief than others. Big mess, but the number keeps growing. Now it's 40 million borrowers, folks. Why? If the consumer's strong, if the economy is great, like we were being told over the past several years, even in the past 6 months, we were told the economy is great, the consumer's resilient. Why do we have to have 40 million borrowers involved in some sort of loan forgiveness? Think about it, because they can't make their payments. They can't keep up with it. So in order to disguise this, now we have to have all these forgiveness programs, all these rescue packages. Berkshire Hathaway dumped nearly half of its Apple shares, plus other stocks, in final burst of rally and bought T-bills, right? That's how Wolf Street put it. Back to what we talked about at the beginning. Berkshire, biggest cash position, from what I read, the biggest cash position ever for Berkshire. Folks, this is, what do you think about all this? Let me know down in comments, folks. I hope you're doing well. Oh, the trade, Rivian, we're up 45%, folks. So to every one of you that's supported me on this channel, thank you, because it's your support that gave me this extra funds to invest. I told myself that I'm only going to invest money that I make on this channel. What I make on this channel goes to investing, so I can report the investments back to you. Some of you are following me on these, others are not. I don't recommend anyone follow me or anyone else. I recommend that you do your own research, and I recommend that you all do your own due diligence. But for those of you that are on this trade, congratulations. And all the money goes back into the channel. Better equipment. I've got a $200 mic I'm talking on right now, a much nicer camera than I started off with. So thank you to everyone that supported me on this channel. Thank you for being here. Hope you're doing well. Brace, folks. The black swans are flying around. And on one hand, I'm excited because we've got some short positions against these markets and against certain overbought stocks. But on the other hand, I'm very cautious, very concerned, not just for myself and my family, but for everybody, including everyone watching. Get ready, folks. Just going to get scarier this year. And maybe you're not scared. I hope you're not. This is not meant to scare anybody. This is just meant to have you brace and get ready, because even though you're doing well, when a lot of people are broke and desperate, you see what happens to crime, break-ins, all this stuff. Get ready. Eyes in the back of your head, head on a swivel, all that good stuff. Take care, people. Keep stacking. Bye for now. Peace.